Hello everybody, this is Rainer speaking from Stockholm, Sweden, all the way from Stockholm, in this channel that will soon be your favorite booktube channel called Reindeer Books. Today, for you, a TBR. I talk about the books I'm currently reading and the ones that I hope to finish until the end of this beautiful month of May. As you know, on my channel, I'm not a fast book eater. I'm more like a gourmet than a gourmand. I simply can't make it to read 20 books or even more per month. Even a dozen sounds pretty unrealistic to me. There's so much other stuff out there to experience and to consume and to live through. Have you seen Netflix's sensational adaptation Baby Reindeer, written and starred by the Scottish comedian Richard Gere, which I did last week? It is marvelous and exciting and thrilling, and viewer discretion is advised, because the show contains a lot of imagery of sexual violence, of stalking, and mental illness. If you can see it, it's just great and you will love it. But back to the books. How many books do you plan to read in May? Tell me all about it in the comments down below. And here, my dear friends, is my TBR for the month of May. I am currently reading The Storm We Made by Vanessa Chang, a new author, a new voice who takes us to Malaya later, and today Malaysia, in 1945. The year is 1945 here. World War II is about to end, and Malaya is still occupied by Japanese forces who are about to lose the war. Their reign over the former British colony is horrific. Concentration camps, young girls, not even in their teens, are being kidnapped. They are raped and molested by the occupational forces. Cecily is a mother of 4. 10 years before, in 1935, she has had a relationship to a Japanese officer, believing that Asian rule in Malaya could be better than British rule. Now her children suffer the consequences of the decisions that she has made. Her son Abel is a prisoner in a camp at 15 years old. Her little daughter Jasmine, only 8, is in danger of getting kidnapped. She will do everything to save her children and rescue them all. The Storm We Made by Vanessa Chang. Strongly recommended already now. On audio, I have started listening to a book called Code Dependent, Living in the Shadow of AI by Madhumita Murgia, shortlisted for the inaugural Women's Prize for Nonfiction 2024. AI is everywhere already today, but is still developing in rapid speed. Lots of professions will vanish in the course of the next decades. AI has long since taken over our cars. It translates from a huge amount of languages into many others. It can imitate your voice and my voice and make us say the weirdest things that we never said. Madhumita Murgia grew up in Mumbai in India and has become the first editor for AI-related articles at the Financial Times. She has traveled around the world and reports about tens of thousands of workers who collect data or moderate content residing in some of the poorest and most deprived places on Earth. They are paid badly to maximize the profits of big tech in the United States and in Europe. Almost 90% of the deepfakes on the internet are pornographic imagery and clips with women who are more or less powerless in trying to get that content out of cyberspace. Faces from any kind of pictures are being used to strip these girls or women naked with AI apps, or even use their heads in pornographic movies. A very interesting book that shows how far we have already come and what might lie ahead of us in the future. Not started yet, but on the list on my TBR is Naomi Klein's Women's Prize shortlisted book as well for nonfiction, Doppelganger, A Trip into the Mirror World. The activist and journalist Naomi Klein from Canada finds out that there is another Naomi out there in cyberspace that gets more and more mixed up with her, with completely different views than she has. This Naomi denies climate change and expresses xenophobic views. Naomi Klein tracks down other Naomi, how she calls her, with whom she's often mixed up, although having a different last name, and enter our world of divide and fake news, lies and betrayals and shitstorms. All the Sinners Bleed by S.A. Cosby is the Edgar Award shortlisted novel about a black sheriff in Sharon County, Virginia, and will hopefully be the first novel I read by an author that my idol author in crime fiction, Michael Connelly, simply blurbs with gripping and the great Stephen King calls exhilarating. Dark secrets of the past are uncovered and all the sinners bleed when a schoolteacher is murdered by a former pupil and the pupil himself is killed by one of Sheriff Titus's deputies. Gripping, said Michael Connelly, and I hope that this also counts for his latest novel that appeared and was published in the end of 2023, Resurrection Walk, which stars LA Lincoln lawyer Mickey Huller. I never really bought that legendary Harry Bosch, the famous Michael Connelly detective, turned out to be Mickey Huller's half-brother many novels ago, but he certainly is. I can't do anything about it. The aging Bosch now is assisting Holler in a case where a woman who is imprisoned for the murder of her husband might be innocent, which quickly turns out to be a fight between David and Goliath. And of course, our boys, Harry and Mickey, they are little Davids here in this novel. I have more what I plan to read in May. Saha is another novel by Cho Nam-yoo, the author of the successful Korean novel Kim Yi-young, born in 1982. Here she writes about a housing complex in a city simply called Town, and it has been compared to George Orwell, to Kazuo Ishiguro, to the TV show Squid Game, and to Margaret Atwood. So this certainly sounds interesting and might be a little kind of horror-ish. And finally, if you have seen my review earlier this week about Absolution by Alice McDermott, an author that I newly discovered, you have heard that I had ordered her National Book Award winning novel Charming Billy from 1998 from the City Library of Stockholm, and how quickly they work, because here it is, Charming Billy. Billy Lynch is dead, and 47 people gather in a bar in the Bronx in New York to remember him, and we learn about him in many different voices from many different angles, and this sounds just great as a starting point for a novel. And these are my May plans, and hopefully I can fulfill them. We'll see. I will let you know, and I will try my best to return to a more regular posting on this channel. Slap a like, subscribe, tell your friends and tell your family, and I'll see you very soon. Bye.